I make every effort to explain what is good in the authors I review, as well as what is bad. My hope is that the result can be heard with profit by people of all political persuasions. In preparing this book for the press, I have been greatly helped by comments and criticisms from Mark Dooley, Sebastian Gardner, Robert Grant, and Wilfred Hodges, all of whom are innocent of the crimes committed in the following chapters. Scrutopia, January 2015. 1. What is left? The modern use of the term left derives from the French Estates General of 1789, when the nobility sat on the king's right and the third estate on his left. It might have been the other way round. Indeed, it was the other way round for everyone but the king. However, the terms left and right remain with us, and are now applied to factions and opinions within every political order. The resulting picture of political opinions spread in a single dimension can be fully understood only locally, and only in conditions of contested and adversarial government. Moreover, even where it captures the outlines of a political process, the picture can hardly do justice to the theories influencing that process, which form the climate of political opinion. Why, therefore, use the word left to describe the writers considered in this book? Why use a single term to cover anarchists like Foucault, Marxist dogmatists like Althusser, exuberant nihilists like Zizek, and American-style liberals like Dworkin and Rorty? The reason is twofold. First, the thinkers I discuss have identified themselves by that very term. Second, they illustrate an enduring outlook on the world, and one that has been a permanent feature of Western civilization, at least since the Enlightenment, nourished by the elaborate social and political theories that I shall have occasion to discuss in what follows. Many of my subjects have been associated with the New Left, which rose to prominence during the 1960s and 70s. Others form part of the broad ground of post-war political thinking, according to which the state is or ought to be in charge of society and empowered to distribute its goods. Thinkers of the New Left was published before the collapse of the Soviet Union, before the emergence of the European Union as an imperial power, and before the transformation of China into an aggressive exponent of gangland capitalism. Thinkers on the left have naturally had to accommodate those developments. The collapse of communism in Eastern Europe and the weakness of socialist economies elsewhere gave a brief credibility to the economic policies of the New Right, and even the British Labour Party climbed onto the bandwagon, dropping Clause 4, the commitment to state ownership, from its constitution, and accepting that industry is no longer the direct responsibility of government. For a while, it even looked as though there might be an apology forthcoming from those who had devoted their intellectual and political efforts to whitewashing the Soviet Union or praising the People's Republics of China and Vietnam. But the moment of doubt was short-lived. Within a decade, the left establishment was back in the driving seat, with Noam Chomsky and Howard Zinn renewing their intemperate denunciations of America. The European left regrouped against neoliberalism as though this had been the trouble all along. Dworkin and Habermas collecting prestigious prizes for their barely readable but impeccably orthodox books, and the veteran communist Eric Hobsbawm rewarded for a lifetime of unswerving loyalty to the Soviet Union by his appointment as Companion of Honour to the Queen. True, the enemy was no longer described as before. The Marxist template did not easily fit the new conditions, and it seemed a trifle foolish to champion the cause of the working class when its last members were joining the ranks of the unemployable or the self-employed. But then came the financial crisis, with people all around the world thrown into comparative poverty, while the seeming culprits, the bankers, the financiers, and the speculators, escaped with their bonuses intact. As a result, books critical of market economics began to enjoy a new popularity, whether reminding us that real goods are not exchangeable, Michael Sandel, What Money Can't Buy, or arguing that markets, in current conditions, cause a massive transfer of wealth from the poorest to the richest. Joseph